So basically, what I was saying in the speech is that this person, one of the most important things for him is for his kids to find their way in life, to reach their own potential, and not to ride on his success or anything like that. We think that this person is probably pretty altruistic. He has he wants to help the world. He wants to give his money to charities in order to fulfill his own wants and desires and get his own meaning for that. Okay. So what this person will do is that he will leave no money to his children. He will donate everything he has to charities of his choosing. He will not leave some things like his house or his business to his kids. He will sell those things or donate them. But he's not taking anything else from them, right? Things that he gave them throughout their life, they will have still. So the main thing I'll talk about is now, for this person, his kids is one of the most important things to him. Okay, he obviously loves them and he wants for them to reach their potential. Okay, and for that he already throughout their lives gave them a lot of tools that made them much more successful than the average person. Okay, he was able to give them very good and expensive education, more than the average person can afford. He taught them his own skills on how he became a successful business owner or whatever, the way he made his money. And he also understood that his kids have a privilege where, simply because they were born into a rich family and they were given a lot of more opportunities and a much better education than the average person, they will be alright. No matter, even if we don't give them any money, they will find their way in life. They will anyway find a good job, find the place, and because of this privilege they have, he knows that they have the opportunity to pursue their own passion, what they want to choose for themselves. Okay? And it's very important for this person to take advantage of this privilege and give his kids this freedom. If I continue, yes, closing.
Don't you agree that in today's capitalistic society, it's easier for people with money to reach their goals?
Yeah, and maybe one of the reasons why this person wants to give his money to charity is because he feels that his wealth was accumulated through exploitation of people, and he does not want his kids to just ride the success, and he wants to, at least in some way, give this money back to society. Basically, so why not give them the money? Okay, basically, it's a very easy safety net. Okay, if, for example, you give those kids the business, okay, they either, even before the safety net, maybe they can feel an obligation to continue running the business, okay? They will feel the obligation to honor his father, or and instead of choosing to do what they really like, they would choose to do this business, which is not something necessarily wants. Okay, this person cares less about the continuation of his business and financial legacy or whatever, and more about his kids' freedom. Okay, and even if they don't feel an obligation to run this business, they have a high chance, and this is a strong fear that this person has. He fears that his kids will basically, in one word, become lazy. Okay, they will be able to simply use the safety net by selling the business to someone else, and other people manage it. But in this way, they don't have to work hard. Okay, they don't have to struggle and learn. They will not be forced to use all those skills that they have learned. They will not be forced to actually use the lessons that the father told them, and they will simply be able to either try to success, rent out his properties, and stuff like that. Okay. Okay. Basically,
weird clarification.
Yes. Okay.
Does he tell his kids that if they're not getting the inheritance after he dies in his will, or during their life?
Well, he tells them during lifetime, okay, it won't be such a big blow. They will be prepared. He will explain his motivations. Yes, it's a very important thing. Where they won't think that he's gone insane maybe when he died, and they won't fight between them or something. But he will clearly explain to them his motives. Okay. So we do. This person really thinks that in order for his kids to actually succeed and do what they want to do with themselves, they have to build themselves from the ground up. Okay. Those people have grown up in a privileged household where basically they're used to having work done for them, having chores done for them probably by other workers. They're used to like being disconnected from people, working people. They really haven't gotten the chance to like see and experience how those people work and how their daily life is, okay? And once they are forced to like kind of build themselves on the ground, to understand like the struggles of the working people and all those things, they will be much better able to reach their own goals through having to work and actually get them, okay? And this also means that he's sending them basically a clear message, right? He wants to be a role model for them, okay? He wants to tell his kids, look, no matter how I personally gained my money, and no matter all those things, I'm sending you this clear message where I'm telling you to do what you want. Don't feel obligated to do what I did. Don't feel the need to follow my legacy, and also don't use the safety net to just like not work and continue living your privileged life. Okay, and another important thing for this person, which we will explain more, is how this person also cares about his own philanthropic work. Okay, like I said, this person wants to give to society, and by donating his money, he is able to find meaning from his donation, and not just to his kids. Thank you very much.
Okay, I kind of agree with the framing of the interest of this multimillionaire. I will elaborate a little bit on the different interests we think he has. I will show you why his children can benefit a lot from the inheritance, and I will analyze how it will affect this rich man, the fact that his kids knows that he's not going to leave them inheritance, even though they don't have a fiat to determine that. And I will also analyze what happens if they don't know that he is going to not give them any inheritance. Now, they said that if he is altruistic and he wants to give all his money for donation, he can still give lots of money for donation and leave inheritance for his children. In our side, so this is the counter prop for leaving all the inheritance for donation. They told us that that during his life he gave them lots of tools to be strong in life. This is just strengthening our case, since when he gives them the inheritance, it's when they are already grown-ups with children of their own. They know how to work in this world, and all the impact of they are going to be lazy, it's just false, because it's going to come when he's dead, and those people are already grown up with children of their own. It's not the time to learn new tools. Now they said that it's going to make them lazy. I do agree that giving someone too many benefits can make him lazy, but the opposite of making his life difficult on purpose in order for him to be strong, it's just a bad strategic. All the notion that hard work going to make you millionaire is a fucking lie. Go to Neve Sha'anan Street in Tel Aviv, you will see lots of hard workers that are not going to be millionaire any time in their life. Most of the hard workers are not going to be millionaire. There is lots of chance in it. If you have the ability to help your children, help your children. You can see Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl been to the Holocaust and wrote the best book there is, Man's Search for Meaning. I wouldn't recommend anyone going to experience the Holocaust in order to write a good book. Yes, it's ridiculous. You don't inflict pain on people you love because you want them to grow. At most, you are not giving them too many benefits. You're trying to teach them tools. Now, for my point. I agree that his children is the most important thing he has in his life. He will try to teach them tools. He won't spoil them in his lifetime because he wants them to grow up. I agree that he wants his children to pursue happiness and fulfillment. But if he's not going to leave them money, they will have to work just hard as him and do exactly what he did because they are used to live in a rich family, in a good schools and stuff like that. And if they want to do the same thing for their own children, they will have to work very, very strong. The only way he can assure that they pursue their fulfillment and happiness is telling them, go do what makes you feel good in the world. I will make sure you have health, you have free time for your family, you have the ability to work with disabled children because this is what makes you happy. You don't need to worry about money. The only way to do it is by making sure they not need to be afraid about money. If he's telling them that he's not going to give them the money, they are going to work very hard in order to have money so they can send their own children into good school just like they had. And now, every time they are working hard in something they don't really like, instead of helping disabled children, every time they do this work in order to have lots of money so they can send their own children into good schools in the same level they had, they're thinking that their father or mother could have solved it for them, and they are working hard because their father is not helping them and they are fucking hating him and they don't want to talk to him. Because they know that all of their suffering can be solved by the person who claimed to love them the most. This person is not solving their problem, and now they are hating him. They don't want to talk to him. And if he's keeping it as secret, since government doesn't have the fear to say that he's always going to tell it, if he's keeping it a secret, they are going to do what makes them feel good. They are going to help disabled children or be a teacher or whatever makes them feel good. But when they are discovering they don't have money, when they're not getting any inheritance, they're going to be very poor without the skill, because I've already grown up people with children of their own. They're going to be without the skill to earn the money their father had, and they're going to be very frustrated and remember him as a very, very bad person. Yes, second house?
If he provided for them their whole life and now they're resenting him only because of the inheritance, that means that they didn't learn anything and they're disrespectful.
Okay, so they are disrespectful, but that's what they are feeling, and it's what most important for our millionaire. The thing that's important the most for this millionaire is the relationship with his children, the life that his children is going to have. If the children of this millionaire are now hating him and remember him as a very, very bad person, as the man that created all of their own suffering, it's not in his interest. And this is the most important thing, since it's an actor motion. So, in summary, this millionaire very much care about his children. He wants to provide for them and he wants them to fulfill their life in the best way there is. Giving them money is a very easy way to do so, and making sure they can pursue what makes them feel good in their life. Since he could have taught them all of the tools that are needed during his lifetime, when he's dying, it's not the time to make the point of go work. This is the time to help them and make sure the family continue in a good wealth. Thank you a lot.
Now, I am a millionaire, lying in my deathbed or in my last years of my life. What have I done with my life? What do I want to live in this world that is going to make a change? I made a lot of money, I gave my children tons, but now, on my last years, I want to make something big. I don't want just to make my company have more money, I want to be remembered. in my speech, I'm going to speak about why it's much more meaningful to give your money, to give my money as a rich person to charity than my children. But before that, some rebuttals. So we get from the leader of opposition, we get that he wants to make the kids happy. First of all, that may be true, but I'm going to explain why it's more important for him to get the meaningful that he wants. Secondly, the kids will hate him, and this is the most important that the part of life. First of all, why it's not true that the kids will hate him. First, like, he gave them tons of money in their life, like he treats them probably like he gave them to took them to a good school, he gave them education, he gave them money, gifts, and so on. So, like, on his last years, I don't think they will forget all that he's done for them the past few years. Secondly, I am, as a rich person, I'm doing a great thing. Like, if I have kids, like if I see my father is like going to help charities, I see my father like helping the entire world, I don't think he hates me. I think that he's doing it for a great cause, and I probably won't just hate him because he is helping tons of people. And lastly, we think just this is why the kids will not hate him, but even and we think the kids will just be successful in their life anyway without the money, right? They have like all the education they need. They have probably houses that I bought from them throughout the years, so they're probably also successful already, and they're not going to be that bad without my millions of dollars. Let's get to Daniel's point about why do I actually teach my kids, and therefore on the kids clash we actually win by giving them much more teaching tools. So first of all, why do I actually want them to learn and to be successful? And we got a rebuttal that hard mode does not equal a millionaire. That's right. Not everybody that works hard are millionaires, and we're not saying that. But what we're saying is that those kids that I have, I want them to be happy, and I want them to be actually functioning in the society and functioning in the world. And if I just give them easy solution, they won't find it, right? If I just give them, like when I die, okay, they probably have some business of sort of a kind, but when I give them these kinds of money, this gives them the opportunity to be actually lazy, right? And we say, why with a lot of money do I become lazy? This is just because of the point that now we are having the opportunity to do this. First of all, because like you have no reason to work anymore, so you can just sell the company and so on. And secondly, just because, that's it. So this is why actually this money would make them lazy and they would be successful with no money. Let's get to my point in a second. Let's get to my point and what is meaning, right? So why do I want a meaning to my life when on my last years of my life or deathbed or so on? First of all, I worked my whole life to get myself money and to the position that I am today. So at the end, you think about it and how it's going to actually leave an impact. You think, how do I actually, I made this big company, but after me there will be another CEO, another owner. They would probably forget me, but those people that I'm going to actually help, like those charity, would actually remember me, because this is a lot more important to them than like those millions that I'm transferring from rich people to rich people. This is the first thing. Yeah. Second thing, not now. Second thing is just the death is scary. What do I mean by that? It means like there is nothingness. Right? Nothingness like is hard to grasp. You don't know what's going to happen afterwards, and you want to be remembered because you think like you don't know what will be afterwards. So you just want to be remembered not as not like it's for everybody, not just the rich person. But if I am a rich person, it's more harsh on you because you think you work so hard your entire life, and now you don't know what's going to be next, and you want to actually be remember after the nothingness is going to happen, and at least you did some part to the world.
Extension?
Before I get, yes, extension.
We believe that the legacy of you is likely to be remain intact when it is in the hands of children that you believe in and not in the hands of some individuals that you don't even know of.
So please note, I don't want my legacy to be like my companies and so on. So my companies would really get, my companies and so on would run by some other owner, I don't know. But the legacy that I want to pass on, I want to actually make change in the world that in the places that are actually changeable, in the places that would make the most difference. And this is where, this is the charities, right? The charities give to the people that don't have a lot. My company maybe sells like, I don't know, iPhones or something, but when I donate to charity, this is actually when I am making a difference, and I think about it just on my last years of living. How do I get this meaning? Only when I donate the money. Firstly, because it's just a great cause. Tons of people are going to be affected by it, and not just my kids, right? My kids would probably still remember me. I gave them a lot of stuff during the year. I taught them a lot, so I would have a meaning from my children, like anyway. But to actually get this meaningful idea when in my last years that I actually want. This I would only get when I actually know that I affected a lot of people that really needed it, and they won't get it without my help, which I know my kids don't need it. Thank you very much.
So, three main things are important to almost everybody. The family, the well-being of the family, the connection to the family and how they perceive them, and the legacy. For some very small amount of people, also we agree that very small people interacting with philanthropy, but this is a very small amount of people like to do charity, and it's very less likely that this will be a main factor in interest for the person, for the millionaire. Also, beyond that, they can do a 50-50 and donate 50% to charity, 50% leave their children, or even 10% leave their children, and it will not be and all their case about the charity goes down. Also, okay. So, the betterment of his family. So, beyond the betterment of his children, there's also the grandchildren, and their wealth will be also important to him. So he will want that their parents will have enough money to give them good education like he gave to them, and to give them a great, if they have health problems, so they have money for all those things. So he will want his family, and especially the next generation, to have money to support them, because when he will die, very likely that his children will already be grown-ups. So he will want for them to have money to support their children like he could support them. So that is an interest that he has, that will only be that will be fulfilled if he inherit them money. So also another thing that the millionaire wants is that his family will perceive him as a good man, a caring man, a man that provided his family. And when he will take all the money that he earned and give it out, not for the family, he will be perceived as a horrible man. If my passion is to be a pianist, and every time I will type the keyboard, write in a line of code instead of playing jazz, I will know that my father could have inherited me money so that I could be doing my passion. So, yes.
Extension. We think that a substantial amount of money will cause inevitably familial feuds.
Okay. You can, firstly, if he will not if the kids will not inherit money, it will definitely cause family feuds between, like, they will be angry at the father and blame everyone for him not wanting to give them money, and they will blame themselves that they have not been good enough children to receive the money, and it will create a lot of tension inside the family if he will not inherit money. And if he will inherit money because he's a multi-millionaire, it will be easy to split the money because there's enough money for everyone in the family, for children. Okay, so his legacy. So he will want every single people on this planet have a set of values, and when he has children, one of the main goals of a parent is to teach their children their set of values so that they can continue their role in the world after they die. It's one of the main goals of a parent and one of the main interests that people, because of this, a lot of people bring children to the world so they can continue their work. So after we will die, he will want his children that are the people with the most similar values to him, and the people that he all those years taught. He will want his children to have the money in their hands, or even if he has a company, to take the company forward. So even if they are not a great managers and they will lose a bit of money, if they can continue the legacy of his work and continue with his values on the company, instead of some foreign CEO that will come to the company and install his own values and destroy his legacy, the interest of the multimillionaire is to inherit the business and inherit the money to his children so that they can move on with his values, which is much more guaranteed than instead a foreign CEO that he will inherit the business to, or giving the money to a charity program or someone else. The people that he can trust the most to handle the money are his own children. Okay, so we also want to talk about in the argument of is better of children, what it means to have money and why would it make them, his children, happy. So money means that you never have to worry about closing the month. Like a lot of people, even people that got good education and work hard, they every single month they have to worry, will I be able to buy food? Can I go to a restaurant? Can I buy clothes? This is worries that most of the people in the world have in some point of their life. And when he gives them the money, he saves them from those troubles, and he gives them the ability to not worry about this stuff, to be able to buy things, to be able to fulfill their destiny in the world, and to be free of those worries, to free their minds to other things. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to do a few rebuttals. Afterwards, I'm going to do basically our main point, which is familial feuds. Basically, any substantial amount of money that will be inherited to the children will cause familial feud, most likely. And again, panel, I remind you, and it's also a little bit to myself, that in this debate we want to substantiate what is the best for the actor and not what is likely that they will do. So first of all, rebuttals. When we are talking about what the opening government told us about the children hating him and everything, I want to explain it according to examples, okay? And from these examples we derive what happened. So I'll take Jackie Chan and the Pig family as examples. Jackie Chan already, even in the very early years of his career, announced publicly and of course to his children that he's not going to give them even a cent of his inheritance. It's not going to happen. And we can see that the children of Jackie Chan probably are not alienating him. Basically, if you raise your children in this premise that you're not going to give them any money, and basically you're going to raise them in the notion that you're going to build the connection of the father or the family, basically of the children and the parents, according to the relation between them, and not based on money or based on what you're going to inherit me after you die. Is a good example to the opposite, whereas although it was very clearly explained about why he gave more to his younger children, still it's in court battles right now, and of course there is a lot of resentment about it, meaning even though it was explained, even though it was very clear why he's doing that, still there is resentment in the family because of it, and it of course became apparent only after Tzvika Pik died. Now, secondly, about legacy and stuff like that, I just think that my partner will do much more, but I mean, if you wait it out, legacy relatively to the relationship with my children, of course the relationship with my children is much more important to me rather than my legacy or how my money will work after I die. I don't care what happens afterwards, and this is the main point here, because generally they do not care. I get the point where just my money will work after me, but I won't be here to see it, so why do I care? So this is why legacy is just irrelevant relative to the connection to my children. Now, a little bit of framing. I love my children and I want the best for them. Secondly, the togetherness of my family is very important to me, unless I'm really a little bit cold-hearted, psychopathic millionaire. Thirdly, I want my children to care about me, and I want them to care about me and take care of me when I'll get older, when I'll get on basically geriatric and on my dying bed and everything. I want them to visit me, I want them to call me, I want them to notice, for example, if I'm going to the hospital or something like that, and be with me in my toughest hours there. So this is my main incentive. And fourthly, something that nobody talked to, I have a wife. This is also something in this debate. We have a wife, and she is also inside this debate, and how basically the inheritance is going to go to the children rather than to my wife. Now, why our family feuds are inevitable? First of all, life situations of the children are different. For example, if they are at different ages, I can now, for example, invest a lot of money in one child who is going to be a medical doctor, and he now needs to study for 7 years in the academics, so I'm going to pay, of course, his tuition and everything, and it doesn't matter where I send him. Whereas the other child, for example, if he's going to be like, I don't know, a mechanical engineer or stuff like that, the investment would be much less, or less than that, because the money that I need to pay for tuition is less. So basically, it is something which is basically going to create a lot of differences in the investment that they put in them. It means that they will look at it, okay, he invested in the other child more than me, now I need to get more in the inheritance because, well, he got more than me, why shouldn't I get equally as him? And this is how family feuds begins. Secondly, we are basically taking care of me when I'm older or when I'm elderly, and care about me. If I am inheriting the money to these children, I don't know, or I have always this small doubt whether my children care about me so much because they just want their cut of the family inheritance to be larger. They give me much more attention in order for me to be persuaded to give them more. And thirdly, basically we are disintegrating the familial cell. It means that the brothers will hate each other, or for example, the wife, the mother basically, with the children will have conflicts after the father dies. Why? Because, okay, how do we divide the inheritance or whatever? And of course the children suffer the most, because afterwards it means that in their adult life they would not be as closely knit together as if the money wasn't involved there. Now, how will it solve the problem if we just won't leave anything to the children? First of all, we are raising children in order basically to unconditional love. It means that they know what is the most important thing. We agree with opening, I don't know what, about the fact that we are going to give them everything that we can. It means the best education, the best opportunities, and please try to show me how exactly, if you were born rich and you had a lot of opportunities, you wouldn't be rich anyway without even the inheritance. Just because you have a lot of opportunities, you got the best education, and you have a lot of connections. because this is what plays here, and this is the main thing, not what you inherit, basically. Before I'll continue, I'll take POI from first.
Married couple are a single economic unit. Of course, leaving inheritance for the wife is just the same as it's the same economic unit.
Okay, no idea what you said there about married couple or something like that. I don't know, but I can give you, by the way, another. Why will it solve it? Not only that I am raising the unconditional, basically to unconditional love, or to focus on the connections between us rather than the money, I'm unburdening my children. First of all, financially, it is scary when you inherit a lot of money and your parents tell you, you need to keep that money in the family. This is scary. By the way, this is exactly what happened to the family of Vanderbilt when the grandfather inherited, basically gave the money away, and then the grandchildren already had none, even not one grandchildren, which is a millionaire, because they were so bad with money. And secondly, because the father died very early and could not educate them because he was so stressed out and was so depressive because of the burden of the responsibility. Secondly, we are unburdening the children. It means that I don't have leverage over them. It means that we are connected, or we are talking, or they care for me without me leveraging them or doing them like, okay, please come to visit, it will affect your inheritance or whatever. Of course, understated, not and why specifically this is important to us, or winter. Thank you.
The problem with the first half is that their cases apply pretty much for the average family, the average father who's about to die and is about to maybe inherit or not inherit his money to his family. They don't talk about what it actually does to specifically a multi-millionaire, what are the special instances of that, what is special about that case. Because if we take OG's case, to its meanings, right? It means that basically no father should give any inheritance to a child just to give him that unexplained drive to succeed in his life. We shouldn't give them anything to make their life easier. From OO, we get basically a case of a loving parent to a child, but again, where do the millions actually apply? And this is where we're going to come in. We'll talk about the unique aspect of a million, which is basically legacy. Normal people don't normally think about their legacy. They don't have the power or the money to actually affect public policy or the way the world will work or will be shaped. And we think that multimillionaire does. That is a very important thing to him, that his vision of the world will continue forward after he dies, and his children are the best way, is the best and most efficient way for him to continue that vision forward. Let's get started with a quick rebuttal to the whole thing about family feuds, right? Because the problem with CG's case is that there was never a connection made between the vast amount of money and that family and family feuds, right? Because my grandmother, rest her soul, died, and she was in a kibbutz. She had very few possessions that weren't worth that much money, and yet there was still a vicious legal battle over her possessions, over her small house in the kibbutz, over whatever she had. We don't understand why the fact that we have money lead directly to family feuds, right? Because we see family feuds in poor people and rich people and average people, wherever it is. The thing that leads family feuds is mostly the education of the children and how close the children are to each other and to the parents and how they were taught. And because this connection wasn't made between the money of the millionaire and the family feud, we don't think their case stands. Let's start with our case, which is basically how we get the most efficient way to shape the world, to shape their vision for the world and our company forward. What does a millionaire think in the late stage of his life and on his death? Right? He pushes policies that he inherently believes in. We don't know if he's charitable. We don't know if he likes, the left or the right. But we think that whatever he likes, he wants to push his world vision forwards, and he does that basically through politics and donating to certain parties that he wants, or philanthropy to certain causes that he wants. This doesn't necessarily have to come through charity, right? We see the Bill and Gates Foundation, the Warren Buffett Foundation, companies that they set up because they believe in themselves and in the people that they trust to continue their policies in the most efficient way possible. He has a certain vision for the world that he knows he soon won't be able to affect, right? He wants the people that he most trusts that have the same vision as him to continue his vision, and he basically wants his company to continue the direction that he started, right? Because we don't believe the whole thing that he'll sell his company. He has spent lots of hard work, money, and effort to build it, right? He sacrificed a lot basically in his family life and in his personal life, and he believes in the mission of the company. We don't think he just wants to throw it away because, I don't know, to give his kids drive or something. It wasn't really sure. So we just think that a person in that position wants to make sure that after his death, his policies, his visions continue in the most efficient way possible. Our burden for this is to show that, one, that me as a billionaire, I believe that my children will do the best job of continuing my legacy, and they will do the best job of continuing my legacy, and to show why charities, governments, and other people will do a worse job, and therefore I will not trust them with that money. Why will my children do the best to continue my vision and my policies going forward? One is that because I educated them not only in how they learn, but with my ideals, right? If I was right-wing, I probably educated them more right-wing policy. If I was left-wing, I did left-wing policies. If I'm Christian, they would probably also be religious Christian and stuff like that. My ideals are most probably their ideals because I taught them, they're my children, and I instilled in them. Two, I taught them good lessons because they were the same lessons that made good lessons in terms of how to use money, how to be successful businesses, because they're the same lessons that I used to become a multi-millionaire. It's from experience, it's from knowing how the market works, it's from knowing how to handle money, and if I taught them to my good children because I want them to succeed, because I love them, therefore they will also have those same lessons. And three, I am certain about their intentions, right? I know them for their entire lives. I know what they believe, what they like, what they don't like, and I instill their morals in them. Therefore, it's much easier for me to think what their intentions will be in the future, which gives me certainty. And four, it's just that I'm biased to believe that they're better, that because a child always believes his children are good, his children are good at their job and good at competent. Before I continue, I will take first half.
Yes, if you leave it to your children, you don't know how they will think in a couple of years. But if you donate it to charities that you believe in, your legacy will go on and on.
I will go to why charities first of all, you at least think you know how your children will feel. You have much more certainty because you know them for all the reasons I listed today. But let's start with why someone else will do a worse job, and specifically, charities, someone selling my company to someone in government. One is because of certainty. I don't know whether that money will go to exactly the cause that I want it to go. I don't know which people it will go to. I don't know if there will be a personnel change in the future in that company, whether the boss will change, the mission will change, what people that I like or don't like will go into the leadership roles in those companies. And therefore, this whole point about certainty is much more in our world where you know your children, you know their vision. Two, it's just waste and corruption, right? Charities and governments are notoriously inefficient in using funds to get their policies across. Even if they get vast amounts of money, they don't always go strictly, I won't take another, they won't go strictly to the place that I want. They'll go a lot for salaries, they'll go a lot, for just fundraising and stuff like that, not specifically to my cause. This is in contrast to my children, as I said before. They were taught better business because of me, because I'm a good businessman, therefore I taught them good lessons. They know how to handle money more efficiently and to grow the thing. And let's take this whole thing about company out of the debate. We don't think it's reasonable for me to want to sell my company, right? Just because I said before, right, I spent a lot of time on it, I sacrificed a lot. I wanted my children to reap in the fruits of my labor and to get benefits from that company. And I probably have ideals about how I want that company to move forward, where do I want it to continue, how I want it to treat my workers, and how I want them to work within the basic constructs of the country that I live in. And therefore, it's much easier to do when I put my children in that company, where I keep that company in the ownership of myself and no guarantees. Therefore, the impacts we get here are one, they're just specifically for a multi-millionaire, which would give a unique perspective into the unique aspect of this motion. As two, as a millionaire, I want my vision to continue. And in this way, when I continue to give money to my kids, to instill my vision, to continue my work, therefore I'm most certain that my work will continue. I'm most certain that it will continue efficiently, and I don't have to spend it on people who I don't know what their intentions are as much as I know my children. For all those reasons, we think, give money to your kids.
3, 2, 1. Two clashes in this debate, one minor clash. One is about legacy and my name after I die and what will happen, and my children, be their future, and our current relationship. First, a few outside battles. First, we can decide if we are not telling them, we think that we are in the field, but even if not, if the metric is my relationships with my kids and my kids don't know, then I'm not affected by it at all. It's like take down all of your things, because my children will love me and my entire life if I'm not telling them, but we think that we have the fear to tell them in our life, and I think this is what we should discuss, but even if. To second opposition, the main difference between a normal family and a multi-billionaire family in the matter of family feuds, that in normal family, a lot of the family members are not that adjusted or like have the money to be like in a stable place in their life. A lot of the time, the inheritance is something they rely on to continue their life. They might have debt that they want to like erase with this money. They might need it to ensure they might be like in a very bad positions themselves because they didn't have the best opportunities growing up, and we don't know what happened to them. The inheritance is actually something that could change their life. In this motion, our multi-millionaire made sure that his children got the best education, got the best like resources, got the best, like he gave them a lot of things to like in their like he gave them a lot of things like to ensure that their future will be stable and will be good even without the inheritance. So that is the main thing about it and the difference. So on the case of children's future, I'll start with that. We think that first government says about like they have more resources, they have no commitment. First government is all about like no commitment, personal freedom for this person right now that he doesn't have the burden or the legacy. They can like do whatever they want, they can do whatever they need. We get from a position that they'll have a difficult life, or a position that they have a difficult life and they might take me. And their second thing is about I want to be able to pass on my values and my lessons to them, because they'll hate me, they won't listen and stuff like that. Well, first government said they won't listen because they have like the safety net that doesn't give them any incentive to do that. I think Nadav gives us here something that is much more than this parallel explanation from both sides. Nadav gives us, he says that the family is like a structure that I really need in my life to ensure that my life goes right. He says that it's not just about money or just about freedom. It's about the people that are around you, the people that support you, are there with you, there to be with you. And in this flash, what we get is we get a tight family unit that actually didn't tore itself apart for family feuds and for this money. And Nadav also explained why this it is likely that this family feuds will happen. First, there is a lot of money, but secondly, he also explained that there could be stupid reasons why to argue about money. He got in his childhood more, he got in his childhood less. When the family is going into who deserves more of the money, and we think they could not get equally as well, because there are houses and stuff like that, things that are hard to split. Okay, we think that because of that, when the family is going to what each one deserves, that it is very likely they'll have those family feuds, and that is why they will lose that family structure. They would struggle. They would go to extensive legal fights with one another, destroying every relationship that they have built over the years, because of this. Now about legacy, and I'll go, this is the second clash about legacy, that second opposition says that my children do the best job, I teach them, stuff like that. But if the family is tearing itself apart and the entire, we don't even know if they'll have the resources because they fight with one another, and actually a lot of money just go to the legal battles, that will actually stall away any improvement for years, okay? In this company, they could do to my legacy and continue in my legacy, because my legacy will be tarnished. And even if I, gave all the money to people that needs it, okay, and people that will so my name will be as a contributor. Right now, my name will be tied to those legal fights and to this family feud that is all over the news because I'm a millionaire. Yes, I take first.
The daughter of Jackie Chan is practically homeless and blames specifically him. She's uploading hate video to TikTok about him daily. Our suggestion, make those views your promised one.
I'll take second. Just one here.
If I'm in the million, I want a freer, more democratic world, as a principle of morals, I will want my money to go to a person who is most likely to advance those morals that I have.
Okay, so what I think here that I can't really ensure in either world that my money is going there. You said that your second opposition said that they are not like a trust like the charities and stuff like that, and in our world we show you that the family feud will actually tear the family apart, and we don't know what will happen to this after that. And in our world, okay, about the first thing, we say that we want the children to have a good family connection, and if they have a good family connection, I think that with everything I give them in life, the likely scenario is that most of them are well adjusted to society and can support each other, and this is what is important to me. Also, just a little more points, my wife, who is actually similar to me in worldviews, can actually take my values after me if they actually, if my connection with them is not that good, my wife can go past those lessons, and I get real love from them on my deathbed when they actually not just doing it for the money. For all of those reasons, we think that only in our world I am ensuring the best things for my children and for my family name and future, and for all of this support.
Maybe there are two clashes in this debate. What happens to your real legacy, what you have worked for your entire life, and what happens to your second legacy, which is your children. Let's start with the more important one. We'll explain to you why we want in the real legacy. Your company, your value, everything that you have, all of your fortune will be directed in the correct direction. Later we'll tell about why it's more important. Let's start with first, rebuilding. I will start by saying why we think that these charities that are the counter world, where we can move it to another world, is less good for us than our children. Why? First, we believe that they are under a lot of regulation, meaning that if I have, for example, something which the state doesn't really like, or that the people inside, and the majority of them for some reason don't really want it. Let's say now I want to promote, let's say, anti-LGBT for some reason. Yes, it might be something which is bad, and yet for me it is something which is good and might not be seen in this world specifically, which unfortunately is the good thing for you. We also think that, specifically in the second point, is that they are not necessarily 100% on my values. I know that I could teach my children specifically what I want. I can specifically move my money through them to specific sub-companies in a way that will allow each one of them to align with my specific needs. And yet with a charity that I move it, I need to do a lot more work if I will even be able at one point of time to make sure that it will be directed in the correct way, and then it will just change a lot faster. Why will it change faster? Second reveal, why do we have certainty about my children? First, we believe that we know about all of the next generation that will happen. I already know also my grandson, my grandchildren, and so on. I know what will happen with them, and I have the ability to say something about it. And yet, in the, how do you call it, organization or whatever, they do not really have the ability to tell me, look, in 20 years, in 30, in 50 years, these are the people who are going to be controlling your money. They have no idea what it will be, therefore it can just be generally anyone in the world, even people that I do not want them to control my money, even people who I completely disagree with their opinions, and I don't really have any control over it, because while I can change the first ages of my new generations, I cannot do anything with the rest of the world, which can just take command in the future.
On that?
And we also think that they don't really have any incentive to do something against me. Let's say, for example, the people in the charities, they have money needs, and therefore they might just move money in a way that I do not really agree with in order to benefit them. I know that my children, given that they have money in general, they're going to be more aligned with my goals because of this extra money that they have, therefore they are more with it. Now let's just weigh why specifically our legacy point is better than our. We believe that we're just a lot better than them in analyzing, right? They have told us, look, I want it in their hands because they have the same set of values, and we didn't really understand why we have the same set of values until Omer has come and explained to you why specifically at the moment when you can educate them for such early ages, when you are being with them from so on, and all of the comparisons that we've just added, this is exactly the reason that we are above OO in that way. We'll also say that the fact that they have told us about the children just being able to work and to do philanthropy, we don't really know if this is in the direction that is important to us. Okay. We will just move on to
OG, I will tell you soon about OG when I'm going to rebuttal way a lot of things will be funded. Second.
As a multi-millionaire, I'm isolated most of the times. I have very few friends and do not engage with a lot of people. It means that basically the connection with my children and my family are much more important than what the money will do after I die.
Okay, I don't really understand why you have no connection and no family when everyone wants to be around you, when you have so much money and so on. I don't really, let's just go to my weights and everything that I have against OG, then later we'll engage with CG and all that. You know what, actually, let's start with CG. What do we get from CG? Let's start with this. They say, look, there are different ages to each child and therefore they get very different levels of money from us. Yes, this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip you. Because that at the moment when you have, let's say, education from one university that has cost your parents, let's say $50,000 if you're in the United States, or another child got $200,000, then this is their scale, right? You have no ability to actually mitigate it to a way in which your family does not really hate each other. But when they know that one child got more, and now, from this point, through the entire life of their future, they do not really have the ability to get the same money as they have already got, now you hate them. Now you think that these are the people who have robbed the entire thing that you could have potentially gotten because they have took this money from you, whereas in the alternative we just think that you're a multi-millionaire, right? It's not really possible for the children to take so much money out of you that you will not be able to just settle it later. And even if you don't settle it completely, it will still probably just be pretty close because you can, as a millionaire, see what other millionaires do. What else do I have against TSG? What did I say? Yeah, we got that. Yeah, we also think that like the majority of the money that you have is probably like in shares of things, like let's say of companies or of things that you already control, let's say whatever. It's not really direct money. You can still direct it through your children to whatever direction that you want. I think it was important for some reason. Let's just move to OG. Let's just first start. I already got PY, I will not take another. I think that as a way, first, I just think that I don't really care about the potential benefit or like small changes in the future of the children. I think that OG has already done enough, but it's already quite obvious, right? I mean, you have people who are in both cases just going to have enough money, like just to manage for themselves. But we also think that, specifically, we think that the children are anyway going to be growing up with enough skills and so on. Therefore, this is how that we are going to mitigate them and to make sure that our legacy is the most important flash. Why? Because at first, we believe that you have friends and family, right? This is still something that you have. You still are probably in contact with them. They probably want to be in contact with you because you have luxurious things for you, whatever, that you can share with them. Therefore, they're still going to be like the breaks and balances that you have in order to make sure that your children are going to grow up nice, right? They're probably going to be interacting with them. They have real people around them who are not extremely rich. Therefore, they still have it. We also think that usually you just don't really talk with children about inheritance when they are young, yeah, right? So this is something that stays in both sides. We think that they still think that they want to achieve more. In both worlds, they know that you have achieved everything that you got through a certain way, and they want to do the same as you. They want to be as successful as you. Therefore, from the age of 0, they know that this is their goal in their life. Even if for some reason now, in age 50, or let's say 20, let's be nice to them. Now, you know that you don't really have to do it. You still have acquired all of the necessities that you have. Therefore, it will still be okay in both worlds.